Hello viewers, and welcome to Off-Grid Solar. This is going to be just a short video on my off-grid solar and what I've experienced so far. If you've watched my videos before, you know I'm just an old-timer with a telephone and I don't do any video editing, so excuse all my misspeaking and and any errors. So let's get into it. Currently, right now, that's what the power inverter is putting out. It's not putting out any watts, but it does power a freezer upstairs full time. And I also have a toaster and a few other things that are plugged into it. This solar system is not meant to take your entire home off grid. It's meant to back up your essential power use for things like your freezer and that sort of thing. In the event of a total power outage, you're not running your dryer, you're not running your stove, you're not, you don't have full home power, but your freezer will keep going. You could power your internet system. I power communication systems. It'll power TVs, DVD player, that sort of thing. So you can actually still finish your sports ball game if that's what you're up to. So currently what I'm getting from my solar is 1.3 amps and the battery is full. All this is doing is compensating the standby power of this unit here. And the light behind me is actually on household power. Hence the reason that's at 0 watts. I'll turn on another light and you'll see this boost up in watts shortly. Forgive all the shaking. I hope you're not too seasick, but it's not my rug. So yeah, about 36 watts for that one fluorescent light, which I think is pretty good. I can power the entire corner of my basement with this system, no problems at all. So at the 36 watts, we still have a full battery and it's only 1.6. At this point, my charge controller is going to be understanding the power draw from my battery bank, which is bottom of those two big cables. It's down here. It's starting to realize the draw, and if you look here, it's supplying more power. I haven't actually turned any draws on. I just left the freezer going all day. I did not make toast this morning. This is the current time and date. And that's what I've accumulated so far since sunrise is 770 watts. And my battery bank is absolutely full. I've made 37 kilowatts and 850 watts, so 37.85 kilowatts for the month. And since I installed the new charge controller, almost 171 kilowatts, like what's 80 watts, right? Let's not be picky. So far everything's acting as it should. At this point, the charge controller has realized the extra draw coming off of this, and I'm gonna back up a bit and turn on one more light. And now the inverter is pulling 73 watts. It bounces between 61 and 73. And we're upwards of 6 amps. So I'm not drawing from the battery right now. All the power I'm currently using is directly from the sunlight. And then I can turn on my communications equipment. And we'll see this come up to accommodate for the extra draw of that. Still, again, fully on sunlight, so I don't even start using the battery bank until after the sun sets. Sorry about that. That's the nature of HF radio. So this little system is not meant to take the entire house off a line or give you full normalcy. But this yellow cable goes all the way upstairs where I have that deep freeze plugged in. I would be able to run another cable off of that and plug in my television and my DVD player and watch a movie in total power outage. Or I can power my internet connection, because your internet connection is considered an essential service. Your service provider has gigantic diesel generators, so the signal's still coming to your house. You just have to be able to power it. And that's kind of the purpose of this system is, if the power is going to go out for 3-4 days or a week due to a storm or a needed repair, or somebody showed up Monday morning still drunk from Sunday and touched the wrong, it happens. That's what this system is for. I've recently upgraded it from the smaller 40 amp charge controller to a 100 amp, and I've upgraded my 500 watt pure sine wave inverter to a 2500 watt pure sine wave inverter. And look at those cables, that's just power goes through. This one would not power my freezer. If you go and check my video I posted called Vet Your Gear, while I was vetting this gear, and this is meant to power the freezer, I realized the surge in the freezer was too great and it would only shut this down. That's when I upgraded and I bought this at 2,000 watts more power, simply because the surge of the freezer doesn't even max out this thing's rating, never mind its surge rating. So in a total power outage, I can actually have toast in the morning, brew myself a pot of coffee using my coffee maker, and then pour it into a thermos. And, there's no sense leaving your coffee maker on the entire time. And I'll have, toast for breakfast, coffee, my freezer is going to stay frozen so my meat doesn't go to waste. And I do have enough battery where even in bad weather, if I'm frugal with my power, it'll actually run for a good couple of weeks and no problem. If all I'm doing is running my freezer in the odd light and have no incoming solar, no incoming solar at all, I can still power that freezer for several weeks, which is the important part. At the cost of meat these days, there's probably more money worth of meat sitting in the freezer than I have in this entire system combined. The last stage for me in this system, before I consider it full, is I'm going to replace my solar panels. I'm currently using two 265 watt solar panels, and that was meant for my 40 amp hour charge controller, but since I've upgraded the charge controller to a 100 amp, I've been looking at my solar panel options, and I will say they are quite difficult to source, just a couple of panels. This is the radio system that I want to power whether or not I have grid power. This is a 2-meter radio, and it's got a few little tricks to it, but mostly I just leave it on the local repeater that has wide coverage. This is my G90 high frequency radio for things like national and international communications. It'll actually receive signals from around the world, which is very beneficial if you've got nothing better to do than sit and listen. And for transmitting, this is the amplifier that accompanies the radio, sold separately, of course. This amplifier actually is about $200 or $300 more than the radio, but it'll bring the 20-watt radio up to 100 watts. And I'll do a separate video on just these two units at a later date, as well as another video on antennas. Other than that, that's all I have to say for now. I hope you enjoyed and found some of it informative. Thank you very much for watching.